Welcome back to XP Waste, where all I want from a mystery box is a stale baguette. I'm Michael.
And I'm Oxie.
How's everybody doing?
What are the odds of getting a stale baguette?
I have no idea, and I don't want to know.
I do, because it's like the only random event item I don't have. That and like some of the beekeeper pieces. Also, speaking of intros, last week, I do want to make a slight correction / apology. I started last week's episode by quoting Verzik Vatur when you walk underneath her in P2, and I messed up the quote. I said there's nothing for you under there, and she actually says there's nothing under there for you. So as soon as I heard it, I was washing dishes and I went, "You've got to be kidding me." I mixed it up. So, but yeah. How are you?
It's too late to go back, man.
I know.
I'm doing well. Getting ready to move. We talked about this last episode, but so we packed up our kitchen 2 days ago, and guess how many boxes it took just for the kitchen?
14.
You're close. 13. That's a lot of boxes, man.
That's a lot of boxes. It's making me want to go Marie Kondo my kitchen right now.
I know, dude. So. Well, I will say one of the boxes, just one of them, was a KitchenAid mixer and a air fryer. So like that's one box that maybe didn't have to be a box, but we want to make it easy for the movers. Yeah.
Stand mixers and air fryers are huge though.
So. They are. So it like nothing else fit in that box.
I'd be squeezing like forks and shit in there. I'd be like, we're doing this in one trip. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. Luckily, we're hiring movers this time because my wife and I have moved 5 times in the last 5 years. So this last time we moved, we're like, never again are we picking up a box. Like, we are in a place financially that we can pay other people to do that. So we're going to do it.
Good. That would explain what you were going to do about moving all the furniture with a pregnant wife, because that would have been entirely on you. I was wondering, I'm like, are you like have to move all the beds like by yourself?
Nope. Like I have family close, so like we could invite people over, but A, we're in a pandemic, and B, I can't just keep asking people to take off work and like put themselves out there.
Because you've done it 5 times already.
Oh my gosh, yes. Too many. Like, there's only so many times you can pay pizza. There's only so many times you can pay people in pizza.
Oh my god.
You can pay pizza.
Mamma mia.
So yeah, we're just gonna hire movers.
Hell yeah, dude.
How are you?
I've been good. I just got back today from my long Mother's Day weekend. I went home, I visited my mom. Hi, Mom. She doesn't play RuneScape. She probably isn't listening. But hi, Mom. Did a lot of work, like around the house and things. So like did the whole Mother's Day thing yesterday. Saw my grandma, my dad's side, went to go see my mom. And then today I woke up and broke out the power washer and power washed off my old swing set because it has faced like 20 years of just like sitting in the backyard, accruing dirt and moss and things. Cause like,
oh man,
like I'll be 25 in a few months. My sister's 22 right now. Like she just moved back in like I think last year maybe. I've been out of the house for a couple of years. So we didn't really get use out of it. And our neighbor who has 2 little chillins was like, "Can I have your swing set?" And my sister and I were like, "Yes, please go ahead. Take it." We're like, I'll break the swings if I get on them. Like I'm not going to I'm past my days on the old rainbow, that's for sure. But it's actually really stable because we did swing on it earlier and it did support my fat ass the whole time. But I've also had a pretty good week in RuneScape, I guess.
Yeah?
I've had a pretty good week, yeah. Just got 87 prayer. Yeah, just got 87 prayer. Completed my first ever corrupted gauntlet.
Oh, dude, I forgot about this. How did I forget about this?
I don't know.
Oxie, tell the audience right now, please.
So, I mean, if you guys were there in the stream, you saw it. You may have also seen me on Behemoth. Like I'm just so popular. I completed my first ever corrupted gauntlet the like last Thursday, I think, and I got a 1kc Hunlif from my first ever corrupted gauntlet. It is bananas. I have the Hunlift with me right now, training prayer. I don't even think he has a placeholder in my bank. Like, I insured him, and then I've just left him out. I've named him Huron. I think he'll be with me forever. But, yeah. So, good news, 1 KC Hunlift. Bad news, I really enjoy the Corrupted Gauntlet. I can literally never do it again. I can literally never do the Corrupted Gauntlet again, because I have 1 KC. So...
You're gonna play the heck out of the regular gauntlet, though.
I have to grind the regular gauntlet for the blade, which is horrible. Because now I have to complete the collection log because I have the pet. That's my rule. Once I get the pet, I have to complete the collection log. Don't look at my Abyssal Sire collection log, but otherwise...
Nice. That was really exciting. I was in the stream, and the clutch on this man, he goes through an entire inventory of food. He's got, like, I don't know, a quarter of his health left, and just he clutches it out at the end with no food, gets the kill, isn't even expecting anything. Like, let's check and see what 1 corrupted KC is worth compared to a regular KC, and then pet. I'll have the Behemoth episode listed down in the description.
Perfect. Oh,
guys will see the highlight.
I was gonna say, I thought some dickhead logged in underneath me when I opened the chest. I'm like, oh, what an asshole! And I looked and I started freaking out. And when you watch the clip, I scream like shark bait. That's not out of context. Like a user, like a member in our clan, his name is Sharkbait. He's a pretty cool dude. And when I went into that corrupted run, he said, all right, 1 KC, cape, and pet, here we go. I'm like, no, but okay. And here we are. So
here we are.
That's my 15 minutes of fame for the next 7,000 hours of my RuneScape career. So
there we go.
What have you been up to in game?
In game, nothing really. Nothing exciting to talk about. I mean, I'm like super close to 95 wood cutting. So lots of AFK time. I think I'm pretty sure wood cutting is gonna be my next 99.
Okay.
If I keep going with it.
Hype.
Yeah. And then when I'm on paternity leave, I plan to knock out some rune crafting.
You gonna get 99, or are you just gonna get
That's the plan.
How long are you gonna be on paternity leave for?
I get 4.5 months of paternity leave with my company.
That's awesome.
So I'm pretty sure if the baby's just sleeping there, or I'm holding him or whatever, I could just be clickety clacking away on mobile. Because rune crafting is super easy on mobile.
You're gonna do bloods all the way to 99.
I'm gonna do souls. I'm gonna do bloods to 90 and then do souls to 99. Because I mean, faster. It's yeah, dude. It's like 35k XP per hour for bloods, and then it's like, I mean, if you're semi okay at it, it's like 50 to 60k for souls. So yeah,
I've crafted 2 blood runes, and I mean like 2 runes total from like 1 dense essence block, or whatever it was, or whatever the amount. I don't even remember. I did it one time for the Karen diary, and that's it.
Oh, okay.
So, but I still need 90 wood cutting or 85 wood cutting for the boost. So I don't have it, but
super close. I
know. I'm so close. So we're not here to just talk about life updates and cosmetic untradeable minions. What are we here to talk about, Michael?
So I think like one of the biggest topics in the game right now is kind of like a mixture between the economy that's tied to equipment rebalancing. If you played RuneScape within the last 6 months, you've heard that thrown around a lot: equipment rebalancing, or nerfs, or buffs to certain items. So that's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah, specifically the equipment rebalancing. We don't know anything about the economy other than
I watched some videos today.
Other than it's bad. That's about all we're going to get into, but that's a conversation for another time. So
for sure.
Yeah, equipment rebalancing, TLDR, just in case, again, for some reason you don't play RuneScape and choose to watch or listen to this podcast religiously. In January, Jagex released a large poll blog, not really a poll blog, more of an integrity change blog that multiple items would be receiving buffs and nerfs, as well as multiple items being redistributed on their tier list for different skills. Notably, like instead of being a tier 75 weapon, the Scythe of Vitur, for example, will now become a tier 85 weapon, which makes sense because it hits like a truck and costs $500 million. That's fair. There have been a lot of controversial nerfs and buffs proposed to in the blog post. It's gone through several iterations. We have watched and rewatched all the modcasts, and like we have all the blogs open right now. Undoubtedly, the biggest and most controversial and painful has been that of the Toxic Blowpipe, which again, Toxic Blowpipe, if you don't play the game for some reason, it's your old reliable. You take that thing everywhere to do pretty much anything, except for instances where a monster has, in the words of Mod Husky, extortionately high range defense, or they designed it to not be hurt by range or cannot be hit. Like Zuck is out of range of the Toxic Blowpipe on purpose. So
wow,
that's a big one. The reason why it's such a big deal is because we've kind of come to find out that the Blowpipe nerf, as well as other things, it's COVID, it's lack of manpower hours, it's lack of like, I don't know. I don't want to say like not having a schedule, because I know Jagex does have a schedule, but like things have been getting pushed back due to like all sorts of other restrictions. The Blowpipe nerf has been one of, if not the biggest contender for why this game has not gotten new content. So now that you're all caught up on what is happening, here we are in the present. It's May, and we have not had a single new piece of end game content, I believe, since February of 2020, when they released the Nightmare of Ashihama.
Wow. Just looking at the dates, you could say that was like more so attributed to COVID, but I think over time, I will agree with you that they started really having these meetings and things were happening where like, okay, content. And then some guy in the back was like, but what about power creep? But what about this? Oh man.
Yeah.
We just got to think about these things, because you can't put out another weapon that's better than the Blowpipe and not have it be just way too overpowered.
Yeah.
And it's a problem.
It 100% is. And like, I would agree that like 2020 was probably mostly COVID that caused things to get delayed. I'm not going to blame Jagex for that. Working from home sucks no matter what you're doing. Even if you're just sitting in front of lines of code all day long, it's horrible.
Yeah.
So like that I don't blame him for. In 2021, since they announced the nerfs, it's been the driving force as to why we have nothing. The biggest example is combat achievements. Now, combat achievements are just like the achievement diary, but all based in, you guessed it, combat. And according to the modcasts, they've been talking about buffing and nerfing other weapons a lot, like for years, like since before some of the mods even started working there who were on that modcast. So like nerfing some of these items hasn't been a new idea, but now's the time to do it because we have this new combat achievement system coming out. If we don't nerf the Blowpipe before combat achievements come out, it would be like if they suddenly released an update that removed spicy stews from the game and you could no longer boost for your achievement diaries. So you now had to get 91 rune crafting instead of 86, to get 96 fishing instead of 91. So potentially like hundreds of hours extra to get a cape that basically does nothing but up your flex game by a couple hundred points.
Right.
Like, but that's still annoying. So that's why they have to get this Blowpipe thing sorted before combat achievements come out. Listening to the modcasts, some of the J mods have said like it is easy to design content around a weapon like the Twisted Bow because you just make the mage defense really low and the T-bow won't hit. The T-bow's capped at 250 mage level, and I think the max hit with 250 is it's 73. That's good. But like you just design a boss to have more or less depending on what you want to be used. The blowpipe, you need like a ton of range defense. A ton. Because the weapon itself has a plus 60 accuracy boost. And the damage with darts scales. And it's also a 2-tick weapon, one of the fastest in the game. So it's possible to pump these out. Again, you guys are RuneScape players. You know this. You understand what the blowpipe does. You're probably using one right now while you're listening to this. Exactly. Right this second while you're listening to it. You're probably on a Slayer task or killing something and you have it. Or like you have it in your bank or you're an Iron Man grinding it from Zulrah. There's no room to do anything with new range weapons. Which also means there's no room to add new content that rewards items in the range skill. Michael and I were talking about this before the episode. The blowpipe was released in January of 2015. Since then, we have seen the Dragon Hunter crossbow and the Twisted Bow. We have seen Pegasian boots, and we have seen the Ava's Assembler. I don't think I'm missing anything. I don't
think so either.
But as far as things that improve the range meta or add to it in some way, we've seen crystal armor. Who gives a shit? We've seen like those 4 items. Like that's it. Mm-hmm. So it's clogged by the blowpipe. Like we can put the equipment rebalance thing in the description because I'm looking at the DPS chart right now for the blowpipe versus every other weapon in the game, and it's absurd. Like, to put it in perspective, I'm looking on the chart. The blowpipe with bronze darts beats Carol's crossbow, the MSBI, the crystal bow, the armadillo crossbow, the dragon crossbow, the rune crossbow, and the twisted bow when the monster has 150 mage or less. With
that
bronze
is so much,
darts.
Dude. The cheapest darts that anybody has access to.
Are the cheapest darts mithril? I don't actually know, but in any case, they're the worst tier.
Yeah.
The worst tier of darts.
The worst tier of darts
is better than almost every weapon in the game. That's nutty.
Mm-hmm.
A change has to be made.
Yeah. One thing that I've been trying to think of is what would be an alternative to say, okay, we don't have to nerf the blowpipe, but what is the content that you have to do to get this god tier weapon? And does it require 85 range, 90 range? Like, you think about all these low level accounts that have access to a blowpipe is starting at 75. 75 range is fairly easy to get. Mm-hmm. And if you think about all of the places that it's useful for, like you said, you literally would take it everywhere. There's not a scenario where you don't think about, I think the blowpipe would be the way to go this time. I mean, unless you're killing dragons or you're killing Vorkath,
I mean, and you have the money. Like, it might not be best in slot everywhere, but it works almost everywhere, which is the problem. So, like, oh god, what's a good example? Like a T-bow with dragon arrows is really good at Zulrah, but a blowpipe with dragon darts is better. You know, a dragon hunter crossbow is one of the best in slot things you can bring to Vorkath. But if you bring a BGS and land anything above like a 30 or a 40, the blowpipe with dragon darts becomes your best in slot. Mm-hmm. You know, for range, that is. The lance works a little bit differently. But so while it's not inherently best in slot some places, it's good enough everywhere.
Yeah.
And the upkeep cost is garbage because, let me check the bank. Zulrah scales are... this is not a joke. I'm going to take a screenshot. There are 73 GP apiece. It's not even the funny number.
How much is the blowpipe? How much is the blowpipe itself now? Is it under like 2 mil?
Blowpipe's 1.6. So the upkeep cost, so the weapon itself and the upkeep cost have plummeted. This is mostly due to nerf fears. There's also the botting issue, but that has been present for a while. Prices really started to tank once they talked about the nerf. So
yeah,
you know,
I don't think botting has anything to do with it, honestly.
It does, just not recently. It's been like So like there's been a steady downward trend you could visualize with the blowpipe price, and then January 2021, boom, it just hit.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's been drastically changed.
Yeah.
The change in price is just going to go down over time naturally because the more that are coming in the game. Botting does raise that up a little bit, but for it to go zip zoom from what is it, like 3 mil, 3.5 mil before the announcement down to now 1.6, that's drastic, man.
So have you looked over like the changes they're gonna make? Like, do you wanna tell us a little bit about what specifically Jagex is gonna do to nerf the blowpipe?
Off the top of my head, they're going to cut the accuracy in half from 60 to 30. Keep me honest here, Oxie. They're going to give it a 100% accuracy boost. Is that still a thing?
On the special attack.
On the special attack. And then apart from that, the other thing that I can remember is they're nerfing the darts.
Yes.
When you use them in the blowpipe.
So I think, oh God.
Let me see if I can pull up the actual.
I've watched the modcasts. It sounds like it's 50% worse because they decreased the accuracy from 30 to 60. But they've actually decreased it by like...
Okay, I've got it right here.
They've decreased it not by that much. So like right now the blowpipe with a dragon dart, the max hit I think is 60 with accuracy and all that. After the nerf, the proposed accuracy is going to be cut by nearly half, but the damage is only going to drop from 60 to 53. As I'm looking at this chart, yeah, it's really not that much of a damage increase. You just won't hit as frequently.
Yeah.
And that's the point. So the big thing they've been trying to stress is like, after this nerf, the blowpipe is going to be the weapon for low to mid level defense monsters. So like most of the fight games, pretty much. For example, like Slayer tasks, things like that.
So just to clarify, because I have it pulled up now, 100% accuracy added to the special attack. Toxic Blowpipe based range accuracy goes from plus 60 to plus 30. The based range strength goes from a plus 45, from a plus 40 to a plus 25. And then the all dart variants accuracy and strength have been reduced. And then they're going to raise the level cap a little bit to 78 versus 75.
Which I think are fine changes. Now, when this first came out, I was very like, look how they've massacred my baby boy. Because, I was, it was rough. When they first released it, it was bad. But they've made all these changes, which, like, overall, I'm pretty happy with. And more importantly, like I said it at the beginning, and I'll say it again, like, this is why there is no endgame content. You can argue lots of things. You can argue, again, like, it's COVID, it's lack of development time, they're spending too much time on modcasts, we get the same content repackaged in a new way. Like one of our friends uses the example of like, all they have done is give us the same content to experience in a different way. Like Trailblazer League was just RuneScape on steroids. Challenge mode Theater of Blood is the Theater of Blood. Fozani's Nightmare is just Nightmare. There are obviously mechanical differences and more or less the same rewards from everything. You could even argue that Temporos is so much like Wintertodt that minimal effort went into it, which I think is bullshit because I love Temporos. But, and even as far as clans and Group Iron Man go, Group Iron Man is the same as normal Iron Man, just with other people. And clans is still a clan, just now cooler because you can like change text colors, I think, like Husky put on his Twitter today.
Caveat being to all of this is like, unless something they haven't told us happens. There could be special mechanics for Group Iron Man that we don't know about. There could be little hidden Easter eggs within clans that we don't know about. But I think you're 100% right in the sense that a lot of the content that we've gotten has just been repackaged.
Yeah, and I think that's having a big effect on the player base. And it's a lot of things, the blowpipe is a big part of it because the blowpipe is holding back combat achievements. Clans and combat achievements and Group Iron Man are their 3 big projects right now. This
Raids
is
3?
Well, this is concerning for me. At least for me as a player. I'm just going to sort of feel like I've been talking a lot already, but I'm going to just like vent a fear that I have right now.
Mm-hmm.
Leagues 3 has all but been confirmed. I think it actually has been confirmed. Last Thursday, IESA checked, and like Leagues 3 is happening. So there will be a 3rd RuneScape League, which I think last year happened right before Halloween and went till January.
Mm-hmm.
And during the time of Trailblazer League, this past year, they released 1 new low-level quest and the combat achievements pull blog. So they gave us a tiny quest and told us something new is going to be happening, which is fair. Not a whole lot of new stuff got released. It's May, and Jagex has given us no word on what's to come. What I am worried about is that this nerf and all of these nerfs, because originally they were just going to rip the Band-Aid off in like mid-February and change everything as is, and the player base was like putting up their cannons in Falador and like sending JMods death threats because we're such a wholesome community, which we can touch on later because that really stressed me out. But in any case, like until the nerfs are sorted, clans is done, and combat achievements are released, we don't have any new content. All that should be out by like June or July. So if you're talking July to early October, you're going to release a new raid? Like, no. I'm sure it's something they've been working on behind the scenes. I'm not going to I'm not going to imply that it's just going to be thrown together, but like we've gotten nothing. Like, I think the player base, Jagex, the call to you, give us a snippet. Like even just a Twitter post that says Raids 3 is coming to Menaphos. A new boss is coming to the Wilderness or Kandarin or something. Like, there will be a new Slayer monster with a boss variant coming in August. Like, something to keep people going. Not a new way to experience old content. And it's not to say that you have to do this whole crazy pull blog and like get it going, but the vaguest little snippet to keep people excited and keep people knowing that like you are working on new things, because we know you are. But once Leagues 3 hits, I am highly doubtful that Jagex will put out anything new until the league is over. Because why would they release Raids 3 in the middle of November when Trailblazer League netted like double the player base? We had like 300,000 people on for Trailblazer League. So like, why would you put Raids 3 out then? Like, we don't even have We're Not Dead Man mode. So I'm concerned that 2021 might be another year of no new end game content because we, as the player base, rejected this nerf so harshly.
I totally see where you're coming from as far as like what could happen between now, May, and October.
It's a bit extreme, I'm not gonna lie.
The only real thing I could see them doing is going through with the nerf and with all the equipment rebalancing within the next couple weeks, within the next couple months, and then releasing combat achievements. That's really the only thing that I really see as far as what's been proposed, what's been said. Those are the only two things that I can see, that I can foresee happening. Actually happening.
And as of right now, like, they're working on redesigning the Wilderness. We should get some word on that soon. They're obviously talking about these nerfs. They've broken up all the nerfs into 4 stages. The next nerf to hit the table is gonna be the Blowpipe nerf. Because until Blowpipe is nerfed, you can't do anything. Literally, like we said, I feel like a broken record. You can't do anything. I think after that is going to be like the Black D'Hide Dins nerf that's more focused around PvP, which will come alongside the Wilderness update. And then finally the tier rebalancing. So like, a level 85 attack scythe instead of a level 75 attack requirement. It's like that's going to be last, but like players, we have just got to embrace the nerf. We've just got to
seriously.
Like, oh man.
I think the problem here is you have a group of people who have been playing this game since they were children, myself included, and you expect a lot out of it because RuneScape is a huge part of a lot of people's lives. So you expect a lot out of it. Your expectations on the game itself and the developers, I would personally say, I think that this game's community puts way too much pressure on the dev team compared to other games. Minecraft has one update every so often, and that's like they put out like 1.15, 1.16, I don't know. You don't see often in games where it's expected every week we want something new or we're going to riot. That's just, it's not really how games develop and how games are made. But this community is so dead set on not changing anything, but also wanting new things that you kind of put yourself in this weird space of like, my hands are tied here, people. What do you want?
Yeah. And like,
I would hate to be a developer for RuneScape. I would hate it.
I would love and hate it so much.
Yeah.
The fact that I can't code notwithstanding, I mean, like, it would be just good and bad. And I guess it's like, well, I could sit here and flame the RuneScape community because you're going to send JMods death threats over a blue stick that shoots darts.
Come on, bye.
But we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to take a different approach and thank your JMods because holy shit, the stuff that we have as a player base put them through. I know it sounds like I'm just out here kissing ass because I want combat achievements, which I am, but also very genuinely like updates every week. It's not a thing. Like you might get small tweaks. You know, right. You might get like bug fixes every now and again, but like even games that are meant to be more online, like Overwatch, they get buffs and nerfs all the time, but they're seasonal for comp rotations. So like they last an update comes out every couple of weeks. It might drastically change the meta, like RIP original Brigida. Not that I ever played Overwatch, but like that's just an example. You know, a game like League of Legends, slight buffs and nerfs to their heroes. A game like World of Warcraft that all their new content is based around expansion packs. Like one of my buddies just texted me that WoW Classic has a new X pack coming out. So he's like back on the Classic grind trying to max out that character for the new expansion pass or expansion pack or whatever it is. Weekly content updates is a lot. It's good, but it's a lot. And I don't know, they've put themselves in a really tough position of like just changing the best thing in the game and just making it worse. Like people's complaints are valid, obviously. It's just, I don't know, until we as a community really embrace it and just, I don't want to say accept what they give us. I don't want to make them sound like they're holding us prisoner. Like they're like dangling new content over our faces. Like you can't get it until you accept a nerf. That's kind of what's happening. It's not that negative. But
totally
like,
fine. I think it's totally fine. One thing that I really took away from that first modcast after I think it was back in January, they put out the integrity blog and then they immediately went live on Twitch. And they mentioned that their post on Reddit within 1 hour was over 1,000 comments. It's like, we have never had this kind of reaction. It was Husky, Arcane, and Aiza. And I felt so bad for them. Looking back, they're just so drained. Even an hour or two after this thing went out. So one thing that Aiza said that really stuck out to me was like, Jagex, as a game developer company, like as a group of JMods, they're really trying to look at, okay, what is the next 3 to 5 years of RuneScape going to look like? What is the next 3 to 5 years of old school RuneScape going to look like? And does the Toxic Blowpipe being the meta fit into anything else that we would have to create. So when you're thinking about making a piece of content, you have to, if the blowpipe nerf doesn't happen, this is all hypothetical. If they didn't nerf the blowpipe and they didn't address power creep, you suddenly have to think, okay, so we have to develop this piece of content either to A, not include a range meta, or B, include a blowpipe meta. Not even thinking, how's the crystal bow going to do? How's the Carol's cross? No, none of that. Like, it's either we're thinking about a blowpipe or we're thinking about a T-bow in these situations. And that's just, I mean, this is like my thoughts. If I was a game developer at Jagex, I'd be like, that's boring, dude. Like, we have so many other options to play around with. And you said it earlier. You said to combat any sort of blowpipe not being used as the meta, you would just have to up the range defense. And what is that going to do for the other weapons that can't compete with the blowpipe? You're not going to be able to use those either.
Yeah. And so it can also be nullified. We have Dragon Warhammers, Bandos God Swords, Arc Lights. Yes. We have barrel chest anchors. Like, we have weapons that decrease the defense of a monster because I believe the calculations for ranged accuracy are based on a monster's range level and partially their defense level. Because I originally thought it was just their range level, unless their range level is their range defense, and I just have that mixed up.
I have no idea.
But basically, yeah, if you make something with like super high range defense, range is just totally invalid. Like, it's not going to work. You know, like, I think Dusk is a good example of a monster with really high range defense, because you don't range Dusk, you melee him. You know, and like, since you just said like 3 to 5 years from now, in 5 years the blowpipe will be 10 years old. Imagine if we just never got new melee weapons because the Abyssal Whip was too strong. Just think about that. They didn't put Gobworst Dungeon into the game. So we never got the Lance. We never got the Scythe. We never got the Bludgeon, because the Abyssal Whip is your old reliable. I'm using a whip right now. Like, if you're a PVMer or even just a casual player training Slayer, you have a whip in your bank if you have 70 attack. You do, because it's perfect. It's an all-around good weapon that can be taken pretty much everywhere. But melee is so much more specialized in how it works, with stab, crush, slash, and more specific special attack weapons that drain respective stats. That weapons like, you know, the Bludgeon, the Cudgel, the Scythe are more effective in certain situations. And then you have really specialized stuff like the Dragon Hunter Lance, capable of, you know, being a really powerful choice in some instances. So melee has that variance, but just imagine that it didn't. And imagine that everything new was just removed and the whip was your best in slot. 5 or 6 years ago, that might have been a great choice, because the whip was presumably the best weapon in the game back when Old School first came out.
Yeah.
But then 10 years from its release, which is like 2 years from now, you're still taking the whip everywhere. Like, Chambers of Xeric with nothing but Abyssal Whips. Not even a tent whip, like just an Abyssal Whip, because like they're not proposing like an item sync for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that like the change, we can just go back and forth all day about like the change needing to happen, the player base needing to like really get with it. So, I mean, I don't know. There's a whole ranged meta rebalance poll. There was a survey. I took it earlier, but last week they talked about how the data's already been compiled, so it might not matter if you take the survey. I'm not sure. Take it anyway. We're going to put the link in the description. We're going to put all the equipment rebalance stuff in the description. That'll have all like the images and tables that like we've been referring to. We'll put the change log thing in there. I'll DM all these things to Michael, put them on the Google Drive, and like we'll be
cool.
We'll be set to go.
I don't have to write it down.
Perfect.
Just check the description for any questions on anything we've talked about. It'll be there.
Yeah, because I feel like we really could go back and forth all day about how like this needs to happen or we get no new content, but we'll just sound super repetitive and super annoying. And don't get me wrong, the content they've proposed has been okay at best. Like, a lot of people are pissed off about easy mode Theater of Blood. I think the quest sounds like a lot of fun because I feel like we're gonna get some juicy lore. But I feel like a lot of people, I love it. A lot of people don't like quests and they don't like the idea of Tob being easy. And then of all bosses, you choose Nightmare, which, like, our friend brought up a good point. Like, Fazani's Nightmare already exists, just takes time to implement, as opposed to brand new content. So, like,
and you don't use range in the Nightmare, so
thank God.
It's a little bit of a it's a little bit of a it's like getting around
on that one. But yeah, so while I haven't loved their new content, they're trying. Thank a JMod. That's how we're gonna wrap this section up.
Yeah.
Their DMs are open. Just thank a JMod. You might not agree with them, but just thank a JMod. Michael, anything you have to bring this half of the episode to a close?
We need change in this game for it to continue to thrive and survive. If you are stuck in the past and you're saying no change, no change, no change, please just find a private server and leave us alone.
Wow, that is harsh, dude.
It has to be said because,
oh man,
again, without having to sound repetitive, it needs to happen. I think it needs to happen because I want new content in this game, and I want to see this game continue to be like played and have fun playing it. And that's coming from somebody who doesn't really care for PVM, but it's just, I know that this needs to happen for the health of this game.
Mm-hmm. Like, Raids 3 is going to come out. Michael's going to do 1 when they come out and then probably never do them again. Like, let's be honest.
No, by the time Raids 3 comes out, I'll be learning Tob.
Maybe. I think we'll probably force you to go on a new raid with us just because that'll be fun because no one will know what we're doing. But yeah, otherwise, like, you won't have... Yeah, no. Michael's not a PVMer and he still wants new PVM content, but... All right, that is a wrap for this section. We're going to take a snazzy little break. Enjoy this advertisement.
And definitely don't skip it, because we see you skipping it.
Yeah, we know. We know exactly who it is.
It's 30 seconds. Just listen to it.
Anyways, we'll see you guys in a little bit. Howdy folks, my name's Prospector Percy and we're looking for some fine young adventurers who want to hone and grind their skills. Now if this sounds like you, then you gotta come on down to Motherlode Mine. Down here we got everything you need to train up them gathering and artisan skills. We got hammers, we got pickaxes, we got dwarves, we got other adventurers, we got a bank and we got some baby moles. We've even got Grandma! Howdy Grandma! Howdy Percy! You probably gonna come on down here looking for ores, and let me tell you, we got all sorts. We got coal, we got gold, we got mithril, we got adamantite, and even runite. And where do all them there ores come from? Say it with me, fellas. Pay dirt! That's right, folks. Them there walls are lined with pay dirt. Mine a bag full and toss them on the conveyor belt. Watch it go down the water. Say hi to the baby mole for me. Once it hits the sack, go mine some more. Load your pay dirt on till the bag is full and fix that dang wheel. When your sack is all full and you're picking through them rocks, you might find some of them there gold nuggets. I'll take them off your hands for all sorts of goodies like bags of gems and bags for coal and bags for more pay dirt. I've even got some fancy mining clothes because who doesn't love a fishing fashion skate? Cart your way down to Falador to the Mudlode Mine just next to the mining guild to make all your pay dirt dreams come true.
Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that. I know I do every single week. Chef's kiss to the editor of that. Looking at you, Oxie.
Yeah, I totally edited that. The joke is that I don't know what ad we played. So maybe I did.
Who knows? Have to wait and see.
I guess future Oxie won't know until this Wednesday. Woo.
So that brings up one thing just real quick. If you guys have any ideas for any sort of NPCs or fun ad segments that we could place, because right now, as of May 10th, date of recording, we're not sponsored by anybody really, except for Anchor on our audio versions. But like, if you're an avid video watcher, you've not heard a single ad or a single real ad.
Yeah.
Without getting too much into it, if you have any fun ad segments that you think would be cool, DM us on Instagram, email us, xpwastepod@gmail.com.
Yeah.
We'll love to hear it.
We have some content ideas of our own, but like we said last week, May is a disaster. So like the ads that you guys see, like for example, the Fortunato ad is one of my favorites. It took me 6 hours to get 90 seconds of content put together. I'm not saying like, oh, appreciate it because it takes a long time. I'm saying it takes a long time, even to get like B-roll footage and things, like when you can't control NPCs. Like that's why if you really pay attention, a lot of it is just reused footage, because I was only able to get like 4 seconds of an NPC standing still. So yeah, just be aware that like you have time to think of new content for us, because we've already given you so much free content ideas. So we have ideas of our own, but whether or not they come to fruition this month it's anybody's guess.
It's up in the air. Yeah. What we do know is we have a fun question. Every week we have a fun segment, and today is no different. So today, Oxie, I would like to ask you a very fun question. You need a second?
No, my cat is scratching at the door. Fun question. She really wants to come in, but I can't. So, you know.
So, the question I would like to ask you is, if you could assign a job to a RuneScape boss or NPC, but we'll start with bosses. A RuneScape boss, what job IRL would they have? Do you want? I can go first if you want me to go first, because I've got my favorite boss to talk about and the job that I think he would have.
Perfect, because now we've turned the table. Now we've turned the tables. We're like, Michael has had 10 whole minutes to think about it because he just thought of it, and I've had 18 seconds. So
here we go.
Go ahead,
okay,
Michael.
So the first thing that comes to mind is seeing General Grordor as a line cook in some like sleazy burger joint. He's just sitting there with his white apron, slinging burgers. It calls to mind that scene in episode 3 of Star Wars where Obi-Wan goes to that city and he's talking to his friend.
You mean episode 2? Oh my God, you call yourself a Star Wars fan.
Is that episode 2?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me redo that because I don't want to be an idiot.
No, it's too late. It's too late.
No!
Your fate is sealed.
In episode 2.
You've been doxxed as a fake Star Wars fan.
Fine, episode 2, The Clone Wars. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. What do you know?
Okay, I know what it is. Anyway, the guy that he talks to about the dart, that's kind of what I'm picturing is like dirty white apron, just slinging burgers.
I would eat a General
Grarburger.
Burgardor? No.
Burgerdor.
Oh my God, we got to think of a play on words. General Hamburger. That sounds so stupid.
Bandos Burgers.
That's so much better.
Bandos Burgers.
Oh man, other bosses in the game and what their jobs would be. The maiden would be a blood drive operator for sure. She would be working in the trucks for like mobile blood drives. That'd be pretty fun. Horribly terrifying, but a lot of fun. Yeah. You know, especially if you caught her on a bad day, you know, when she's like all drained of her health and like that'd be horrifying.
Sitting in a blood hot tub.
Stop with the blood hot tub. How many times do we talk about Theater of Blood and you bring up the blood hot tub every time? Nobody needs that imagery. Stop talking about the blood hot tub.
I don't know much Theater of Blood, but I know that Maiden is swimming in a blood hot tub.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna say Zammy Boss would be. He'd definitely be he would be a bouncer at a nightclub for sure.
I'm still fed up with blood hot tub, but I agree. I agree.
Okay, I'll stop saying it.
I could see him being real mad. I'm looking over at the RuneLight high scores to like see all the bosses and like figure out what I would do. Ooh, here's a weird one that we don't ever talk about. Bryophyta would probably make for a really good greenhouse tender. Like, she would probably do a really good job at a greenhouse.
I was going to say either a greenhouse or an anthropology teacher.
Anthropology? Isn't it the study of humanity?
Yeah, but like, I mean, historically, humanity has been within nature. We've been more or less cave people for a long time. So when I think anthropology, I think of like human civilization before the industrial age.
Dude, that's got to be the job for the crazy archaeologist.
Well, yeah, obviously.
He's got to be. I mean, he's vaguely based on Indiana Jones, like the villain in Indiana Jones, anyway.
Yeah,
like his name is like close to the name of the guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark. But like, yeah, oh, that'd be so cool, dude. Professor Crazy Archaeologist. He like shows up. He's like, taste of knowledge, the very first day of class, like throwing books and shit at the students. That'd be so much fun. He wouldn't even be known as Dr. Archaeologist. He would show up in a shirt like I'm wearing right now, and he'd be like, "What's up? Call me Bellic. Time to learn about shit." Like, he seems like he'd be an awesome professor.
Are there any other bosses you think that would make good teachers?
Good teachers?
Like a weird professor or something.
I don't have
the high scores pulled up.
All right. Hey, hear me out. Weird professor. Just because of their structural anatomy, Doctor and Dr. Grotesque would make really good architect, like really good, oh my god, architectural design professors. Like they would be really good. Really good professors. Because
the Grotesque Guardians?
Yeah, the Grotesque Guardians. Doctor and Dr. Grotesque.
Okay.
You think only one of them has a PhD? No, they're both professors. You know. Just because one of them has a fake wing, it's fine. Now I'm on the professor train. Who would make a good professor? I'd also like to throw a bid for Hespori. The Hespori, whatever gender it is, would probably make a really good greenhouse tender as well. Like Hespori and Bryophyta, like I think one of them has to be like greenhouse and one of them has to be like dispensary. You know, they could be interchangeable. They could both work together, just in different annexes. But like, you know, one's got to grow tomato plants, the other's got to grow marijuana, like legally, and just like,
yeah,
I think that'd be a lot of fun. That'd be fun,
bro. Obor is giving me mad coach vibes. Coach Obor.
Obor seems like a dick.
For sure, though, for sure. Oh man,
I think Temporos would make a really bad swim instructor because his whole body is made up of a whirlpool. Yeah, it's not like he could show you anything because you would just drown. Ooh, the Barrows brothers as personal trainers. That would be fun.
That would be great.
Would be fun. That would be fun.
They all specialize in a different exercise. I mean, the hard thing about the RuneScape bosses is like not a ton of them are humanoid. Mm-hmm. So then you got to think like, what would Sarachnis be good at? I don't know. That's the thing that I'm having trouble with right now.
I mean, Sarachnis has a lot of minions, so like she could be a good midwife. Just because she constantly pumps out kids. I don't know if I would want Sarachnis to be my child's midwife, but I mean, it's a possibility.
That's definitely putting it
because like if you don't
out there, man.
Like the more people you bring, and if you don't kill the minions, like if you 4-man Sarachnis, you have, if you don't kill any minions,
baby spiders,
16 baby spiders by the end of the fight.
Yeah.
Do you have any more? I have one more. Do you have any more?
No, I have no more. I've
Right.
exhausted. My best one was Grardor, so.
Well, that's debatably one of the best ones for sure. I would think that one fits, I think, the most. The last one, and this is just entirely personally biased, the Hunliff would be a good boy. That would be his job. He would just be a good boy. I think that's all we have for you this
week. That's a fun question, folks.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a shorter episode. We will say it's been a little bit shorter, but like we said, May. So
we're not even sure if it's going to hit an hour. Maybe.
Yeah.
If it isn't, we're so sorry. We're so sorry. So everything you could possibly want is in the description. You've got links. You've got fun content to go through as far as the equipment rebalancing. Hey.
Spreadsheets.
You can listen. If you want to listen to this podcast on the road, I've got all the links in the video version, and vice versa. If you want to watch our beautiful faces and you've only been listening, hey, you got to tell me in the comments what you think of Oxie's shirt, because I love it. That's a little Easter egg for you if you only are listening through your ear holes. We love you guys, and we thank you so much for listening each week. I do want to throw a quick plug. XP Waste is not sponsored by, but really likes Beanies Custom Beanies. We've been talking about it for a couple weeks. That link is in the description. If you use code XP Waste in checkout, they're going to throw you 10% off. If you haven't bought a beanie now, now's the time to do it. I know it's going to be summer for you North Americans, but if you're south of the equator, hey, it's going to be cold soon, y'all. So we thank you so much for listening, guys, and we will catch you on another episode next week. Bye-bye.